Hello, I'm Glenn Mackintosh and I'm the hypnotherapist. I'm also the principal psychologist at Weight Management Psychology, a private psychology practice specialising in helping people achieve and maintain the most ideal body shapes that are just right for them. I use hypnosis very regularly with my clients who have struggled with weight issues in the past. The hypnotic work gives clients a unique process that helps them to change their thoughts, feelings, and behaviours, often in a more effective way than just talking. And my success rate with hypnosis is very high. It is for this reason I decided to produce a series of hypnotic sessions to help other people who have also found managing their weight a challenge in the past, so they find it much more achievable in the future by developing a more workable psychological approach to weight change. I imagine you are one of these people, so I look forward to helping you reach the most healthy, fit, comfortable, energetic and attractive body shape that is just right for you to maintain forever through the power of hypnosis. I am certain, that is, there is no doubt in my mind, that working through this hypnosis and the series that follows it will leave you more psychologically ready to reach and maintain your ideal weight than you have ever been before. And you can await a future change completely free of even the weightiest of past histories. Just a quick note, if you haven't already, please read the instructions provided for this session, which is designed to be listened to only once, to learn how to best use it in the safest, most effective, and most beneficial way possible. As you prepare to move into trance, a powerful hypnotic state that heightens positive psychological change, make sure you are in a comfortable position, lying down on a comfortable bed, a couch, or on the floor. If you're listening to this in stereo, this voice should be in your left ear, and this voice should be in your right ear. Allow your body to take some comfortable deep breaths by focusing on breathing out. Breathe out and allow the air to naturally refill your lungs. As you focus on breathing all the way out, notice how you don't even have to try to focus on breathing back in. It happens automatically. Focus on breathing all the way out as far as you can, and just pay attention to the air naturally refilling in your lungs without any effort at all. Notice how you are feeling a little more relaxed. Your eyes beginning to feel heavy. And that all living people have a past and a future, just as people remember and forget. Notice your eyes feeling heavier still. All people have a past that has happened and several potential futures, just as all people can hold on to or let go. Your eyes feeling heavier and heavier now. All people have a past they no longer have influence over, and a future they have great influence over. Just as all on people their choices can remember in things the present that are helpful and important, and forget things that are unhelpful or your eyes feeling
while
very
the past
heavy
does not
and
change.
feeling
All
like
people
closing.
can put parts
As
of the
all
past
people
behind
can remember
them
anything
and
that's
focus on
important to
creating
their
the
history
future,
and forget that which is interfering with them creating their future. Your eyes, if they haven't already, can close and help you move even deeper into a transformational state. With your eyes closing, your mind has begun opening, and it can be amazing how you can shift from a more closed into a more open state of awareness. I see a lot of clients who have been left feeling hopeless due to years of struggling with their weight, body image, and dieting. This session is all about completely freeing yourself from this past baggage so you can move more freely towards your goals for the future. At the same time, while you may not have realized this before right now, there is some very valuable learning from the past which you will retain. The value you'll retain is in the past learning, which you'll keep as you discard anything that will be unhelpful for you on your way forward. Every time people attempt weight loss without long-term success, they have the opportunity to learn more about the process, which is very helpful. When the weight decreases, they learn a little more about what helps it go down. When the weight increases, they learn a little more about their trouble spots. When the weight plateaus, even if not at the ideal weight, they are often unknowingly learning the important skill of weight maintenance. Allow yourself now to reflect on what your past challenge with weight has taught you. That from your experience you wish to keep and retain as you release the unhelpful, as you release the hopelessness, the sense of failure, or any guilt or shame. Maybe through the process you have picked up an understanding of energy in terms of calories or kilojoules or points, or a familiarity of appropriate portion sizes, a knowledge of physical activity that helps you release weight, an ability to make food or drink substitutions, the important skill of self-monitoring, some workable alternative behaviours to overeating, like going for a walk, talking to someone, or simply going to sleep. An understanding of the long-term ineffectiveness of fad or crash diets. Appreciation of the importance of maintaining your new weight once you have reached it. A sense of valuing often necessary professional support, or a variety of useful behavioural strategies, like how to say no to food, driving to social events to avoid the temptation to drink alcohol, or brushing your teeth straight after dinner to avoid before bed snacking. Imagine how difficult it would be for you starting from scratch. Without all of these understandings that come from a wealth of experience at attempting to become healthier, more comfortable, or more attractive. So these learnings from experience can be remembered, resurface, and revitalize in your life as you see the valuable learning from your past experience. Sometimes disguised as failure experiences, these important learnings will be vital on your way forward. So allow yourself some silent time now to reflect on, remember, and raise these important learnings to your consciousness. So rather than sitting in the files of the past, powerless to affect your choices in the here and now, you can leave these valuable understandings in a working file in your mind to use very effectively, regularly, and consistently into the future. The silent time to recognize, reflect on, remember, review, recall, and reconnect with any of this valuable past experience that will help you begins now. You can even write these things down to remember afterwards when the session finishes to help enhance the positive effects of this hypnosis. So apart from all the learning that you had been doing without even realizing it, one of the most important learnings people come to over time is the importance of working on your mind. Paradoxically, this is often the last place people look, but often the most useful place. The experience we will go through in this session will cleanse you from any unwanted conditioning from the past, will leave you feeling free to choose the choices that help you now, and ready to reach and maintain the most ideal way for you in the future. There will be countless other positive psychological changes to come throughout the mental reconditioning series that follows this session. In the hypnosis series, you'll discover a greater awareness of your choices. You'll generate motivation, develop patience, learn how to recover from setbacks, improve your thinking, develop a balanced and sustainable approach to change for life, manage your emotions in healthier ways than through emotional eating and drinking, manage social situations healthily and develop social support, and improve your confidence at maintaining your weight forever. In the Walking Companion series, you will improve your attitudes to healthy foods, less healthy foods, physical activity, alcohol and other calorie drinks, and water. You will do this all in a series of sessions designed to be listened to while you walk. But for now, I want you to know that you can await a weight change future completely free of any weight change past. Your future with this issue will be completely different from how it has been, because that was then, and this is now. And in the now, you have the power of choice on your side, offering you a plethora of potential possibilities for the future, despite what happened in the past. The now is a very powerful moment, because it is the moment where you make choices that create your future. You can choose in the now to slightly wiggle the pointer finger on your left hand now, or to move your right big toe now, and be left with the thought that you decide the right path for you in the future. You can even choose to breathe a deep breath out, releasing all the air you can and letting the new air flow in all by itself. And it can be a breath of fresh air to know you already know the ins and outs of making choices in the now. And now, with choice on your side, you can allow yourself to await future changes completely free of even the weightiest of past histories. And we both know in the now, you can give yourself the present of choice, offering you an abundance of potential possibilities for all of the presents you will have in the future when you have the presence of mind now to make choices that bring your dreams into reality. And every now and then, while in transformation, you get a real understanding that this is now, and that was then, and that this right now is very different to that back then, which is a small transformation in itself. Regardless of historical events, you can actually choose to create your ideal body. Because when you make different choices, your brain and body actually change. New scientific research shows the human brain exhibits a great amount of neuroplasticity, also known as cortical remapping or learning. Neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to change itself when we give it different experiences, such as different thoughts, behaviors, or environmental stimulus, such as this hypnosis session. Replacing the old view that the brain doesn't change much after childhood, new science shows the brain is quite plastic or malleable. It changes substantially with experience. The brain is made up of interconnected neurons, and changes in the brain occur as a result of weakening of old connection pathways, sometimes complete removal of the old connections, sometimes addition of new connections, the strengthening of new connection pathways, and by formation of completely new cells. Neuropsychology studies show that the brain changes its structure. That is, its anatomy actually changes, as well as its function. The way it operates changes with experience. Recent studies suggest the whole brain, from top to bottom, has the ability for cortical remapping. So your brain knows how to change. It was designed with learning in mind. It's happy for some cortical remapping in a way that is right for you. And the hypnosis will only help to accelerate your brain's natural neuroplasticity. We actually have an amazing potential for regeneration. Not only do our brains redevelop, our bodies renew themselves constantly. Over the course of a 7-year period, every single cell in your body is completely replaced. You're made up entirely of new cells. 95% of the cells in your body are replaced within the space of 1 year. Your brain and body are ready to change. And whether you realize it now or later on, this hypnosis is going to help both of them. And this can become clearer as we continue. But one way of putting any issues that have passed in the past behind you is to slowly begin to build a wall behind you, separating the past on one side and your present and all of the multitudes of possibilities for your future on the other. And naturally, I can't tell exactly what your wall looks like. It is your wall. And you can notice how the image of the wall becomes clearer in your mind's eye now. Because it is, after all, your wall. In your mind's eye, you are actually able to change the wall and do whatever you decide with it, completely ensuring issues of the past that have passed remain there in the past. Old historical events that are powerless now to affect your choices in the here and now. Whatever you notice happening to your wall, it helps leave the past in the past, a part of the rich experience of your life, and to be valued as such, but in its appropriate place on the side of things that have already passed. This allows you on this side to be left with the presence of mind to make the choices that create the future nows that are right for you as you await a future change completely free of the old past. You may like to make the wall grow higher. Or maybe you choose to put a wrong way go back sign on the other side. Or you could reinforce the foundations. Or even put guards to surround your wall. Noticing whatever happens, it helps you feel free feelings. Feelings that, with choice on your side, in this present moment, your future really is free of the old past. And you can present yourself with this gift of freedom right now. All along, future separating further from past, further and further, as you await future transformations with curiosity. Understanding that you can have a future free of any elements of the past you wish, your brain and body wanting to change in this way, a wall in your mind that can so definitively separate the past from your present and future, you can begin to let go of excess baggage and move more freely towards your goals. Maybe in some way you feel like you had been attempting to move towards your goal, but carrying a lot of baggage from the past with you. And now you can slowly begin to put the pieces of the baggage down in a time that is right for you. Maybe you see individual pieces of baggage and what they represent as you free yourself from them. Maybe you are removing all baggage in a more comprehensive manner. And in all likelihood, when you allow the baggage to be put down, you will feel yourself a little lighter. As if a weight is beginning to lift. As you leave that past baggage that may have once been useful, but with the passing of time has passed its use-by date and can now be cast aside. And as you continue to allow more of the baggage to drop in a way that is right for you, maybe you drop it, throw it, place it down, or let it fall off. Who knows? You can possibly even notice yourself feeling strangely lighter still. Letting go of past baggage that may have once been valuable, but with further life experience has now proven unuseful and cumbersome, and can now be cast away forever. And it can be so pleasant to feel lighter now, and you can certainly await further lightness. Feeling lighter and lighter as you continue to put the old baggage down and down. And of course, you can continue to release all of the old baggage in a way that helps you move more freely towards your aims, helping you feel even lighter still. Do you not feel even lighter, almost as light as a feather. And you can really relish this free feeling of lightness and enjoy the light feeling of freedom and await feeling lighter and freer and lighter in the future, can you not? Experience a feeling of optimism that you can begin to make choices, like presents you give to yourself to accept in the future when it's that future's time to become the present, and you can really await the day when the weight ceases weighing you down and falls off little by little, just like that old baggage. As you begin to move your arms and your legs and walk towards your goals, let your attention notice how easy it is to move forward now. Now you've left all that old baggage in the past for good. And as you slowly begin to walk away from that baggage, leaving it all behind in the past now, in its proper place with things that have passed, another surprising wave of lightness washes over you again, allowing you to feel it as if you are almost floating in the lightness, and sensing a sense of knowing. You have shed past baggage more and more with each further step. As you walk away from the baggage, you feel even lighter again, as if a weight is now lifted, leaving you free and light to make your own choices in the now, unhindered by the past, to create the future that is right for you, starting right now. And what you know and I know is that that old baggage belongs back then. And that was then, but this is now. The past has passed, leaving you only the present of being able to create the type of future that is just right for you. But possibly it is even more than understanding the future can be very different from the past. Deeper than choosing the experiences that allow your brain and body to develop in the way you wish. Greater than the wall that leaves those issues of the past so long in the past, distanced from your present and future, and maybe a little further even than having let go of old baggage, feeling the lightness and freedom to move towards your goals. Maybe you can actually forget some of these past issues. Forget them as if they never even existed in the first place. And they may become so easy to forget as they are difficult to remember. Also difficult to remember as they are easy to forget which is practically the same thing. With the passage of time, it becomes easier to forget some things and more difficult to remember them. And a transformational state can enhance this. Until those things are so very easy to forget that they are very difficult to remember, or so very difficult to remember that they are easy to forget. Which is also, if you think about it, practically the same thing. Forgetting old issues, left in the vault of memories that need not be examined. Impossible to remember now. Any other issues, even if you have forgotten exactly what they were by now, filed somewhere away in a box. So they remain hidden somewhere in the subconscious and are powerless to affect your choices in the here and now. Now the issue of the past has been completely put away, maybe still there somewhere, but impossible to affect your choices anymore. Already so hard to remember for you, possibly even erased from your memory completely, to the point where it is impossible to remember. So hard, it is much easier to forget that you are trying to remember, and instead you can forget completely. And even if it did come into your mind briefly, you would forget it again soon. And even if you tried to remember, you would forget. The harder you try to remember, the more you will forget for good. And decide on many levels that it is better left in the past, and it's best to go on creating the right type of future that you really want for yourself, free of that issue you have now forgotten. And now you have forgotten any old historical issues that you needed to forget. You can now get to creating the type of future that you really want for yourself right now. And what I really want you to know is that the future hasn't happened yet. More wholly knowing differences between past and future, your brain and body ever learning and changing, more thoroughly developing that old wall. So far back now, getting smaller and smaller as you completely shed any old baggage and walk more lightly. Too busy to dwell, forgotten anyway, focusing on the future. Old issues of the past that has passed, powerless to affect your actions in the here and now. Too busy to replay those old stories. You'd prefer a new one anyway, wouldn't you? Because if you can read into what I'm saying, possibly you had been reading the story of a life previously and predicting the ending based on the beginning. But, as with all good books, there is an unexpected twist in the tale. Maybe the twist begins with, say, a hypnotic experience. And you can be pleasantly surprised to read that the rest of the story is much brighter and lighter, somehow, for the main character. And it can be so nice, after this twist in the tale, to be reading a much nicer story that has a happier, healthier, and more desirable ending, regardless of how it started, if you can read between the lines. Or maybe the twist is so heartwarming because of how it started. A story of triumph over adversity. And possibly, after a little while of reading this positive twist for the main character, you could even turn to a new chapter where the page is blank and you have a pen in your hand. Or maybe it's a typewriter or a word processor. It's really your choice. And you can feel so empowered to begin to write the positive ending you choose for yourself. And now able to choose what you write on the blank page of your future, then doesn't that make you the author of your own destiny? Free to write whatever happy ending you would like. And while we can't exactly predict the future, a wise man once said that the best way to predict the future is to create it. Of course, you will find yourself thinking much less about the past. You will be much more free to use your mental energy to make choices in the now. And that makes you much more ready to create the future that you want. I don't know exactly what it has to do with knowing your future can be very different from the past. Really realizing choice is on your side now. Or neuroplasticity. Helpful walls in your mind, separating past from present and future. Or light, free feelings, shed old baggage left behind on your way forward, or forgetting so that it's impossible to remember, or being the author of your own destiny. But you will find yourself much freer of the past, ready to choose and take action in the now, and excited about your future. Of course, I cannot guarantee that old unhelpful thoughts or feelings won't surface from time to time, so I will tell you how to deal with them. Your unconscious mind does not have a great concept of time. So sometimes it takes some reminding in order for it to feel comfortable to change. If you need to, you can consciously remind your mind that it is okay to develop over time. In short, you can tell your unconscious that things have changed, and it's okay for you to change as well, and it will over time get the message. For example, one lady I worked with had been quite thin in her early 20s and had cheated on her boyfriend at the time. To protect her from cheating again, her subconscious developed the idea that being thin equals being unfaithful, and she subsequently gained weight. While releasing weight, later on, these concerns resurfaced, but she reminded herself that she was now in her 60s and had been faithful to her husband since marriage. Things had changed, and so could she. Another example is a man I worked with who at school hated physical education. He noticed that the more weight he gained, the less PE was an issue for him. He wasn't picked for teams as much. He wasn't expected to perform at a high level, so there was less pressure. His subconscious, kind of like an overprotective mother, wanting to shield him from any discomfort, developed the attitude that overweight equals comfortable. When releasing weight, this attitude resurfaced, and when it did, he reminded himself that he hadn't been to school in decades. And since gaining even more weight since school, the extra weight was now making him feel uncomfortable. The old attitude had passed its use-by date. The attitude could change, and so could he. Another lady that I worked with, who I will use as an example, had a history of sexual abuse at a young age. As a protection, she gained weight in an effort to be less attractive to her abuser, which made the abuse less frequent. The abuse only stopped when she moved away from the abuser, but the thought process that overweight equals safe had remained for years. When this lady went to release weight, she naturally had the thoughts that the weight loss would leave her without protection and felt understandably anxious. But after working through this issue, she became able to remind herself that things were okay now, where her subconscious could at times have the understandable response of the scared child. She could remind herself with her adult mind that she was safe. The abuser had actually died, and she was herself in a loving relationship with a lovely man. And she continued to release weight refusing to be influenced by a powerful but outdated thought process. Other clients that have moved past outdated thoughts before releasing weight successfully are a client who grew up hungry in his childhood and from time to time needed to remind himself that as an adult, food would always be in abundance. So he didn't have to eat everything he could fill up on at every meal. This allowed him to overcome the outdated thought pattern, eat smaller meals, and reach his most healthy, comfortable, attractive weight. Yet another client had a previous history of extreme and restrictive diets, and before wholly embracing a healthy eating plan, found it useful to remind her mind that unlike her previous dieting, her new aim of healthy eating would be something she could fully embrace and something that would be completely healthy, unlike the past dieting, which she knew to be destructive. Reminding her mind that she could accept and embrace a healthy pattern of eating and that was a very acceptable and positive form of food modification allowed her to adopt a sensible, healthy eating plan, which helped her reach her ideal weight. But of course, this process is not about my other clients who have already moved through this issue. Take a moment to see if there are any ideas, attitudes, or thought patterns that may have been holding you back until now. It is likely due to this hypnosis session that you will experience these thoughts, attitudes, and ideas far less. But good to be prepared for them if you do. Have you been telling yourself a reason, justification, or excuse why you would rather stay at your current weight? Or why you would rather not reach your ideal weight? Think about these reasons now. Are these reasons still valid today? Or are they outdated and hindering you from leading the life you really want to lead? You are likely to experience these thoughts and the associated feelings much, much less in the future. Possibly never again. But if they do arise, remind your mind that those ideas were developed back then, and this is right now. I'll give you a last period of silence to reflect on this. And you may even want to write down a powerful affirmation, a positive self-statement that will help you remind your mind that it is okay to change, that it's acceptable to change, that you can embrace positive change. And you can remind your mind of that if need be when it most needs reminding. That period of silence starts now. Now, allow the ideas from this hypnosis to be sealed in your subconscious mind in a way that is right for you. Now that this has occurred, the learnings remain completely sealed in your subconscious, embedded in your unconscious mind, thoroughly internalized, and the suggestions remain with you when shortly this hypnosis finishes. Do not be surprised if you notice yourself thinking, feeling, or behaving differently. As you begin to release old habits and embrace new ones that eventually become easy, automatic, unconscious, lifetime habits. Maybe feeling so much freer of the past is such an eye-opener that your eyes begin to feel a little lighter. Maybe it will be even more eye-opening to find you feel a newfound sense of lightness, to make the choices in the now that get you closer to your goals. So eye-opening that your eyes begin to feel even lighter. They might flicker and feel a little more like opening if they haven't already. Maybe you're surprised and amazed at how your eyes are so open to seeing your future potential. But soon your actual eyes, if they haven't already, are opened. And when they open, you will know you're ready to see things differently. And you've had a truly eye-opening hypnotic experience.